Okay, so picture this. AI isn't just your super smart friend you ask questions anymore. It's actually showing up with, fully formed ideas like pitching a startup, but for research papers.
Yeah, what's really fascinating here is just how quickly the AI landscape is evolving, right? It's shifting pretty dramatically, from just processing information or like generating text based on prompts to actively creating and proposing genuinely novel concepts.
Exactly. It's a whole different ballgame, isn't it? And that's what we're really diving into today. This deep dive is all about these AI agents that are proposing original research ideas, kind of like they're pitching a new company concept, but yeah, for the world of science and academia.
And we're pulling insights from this pretty significant recent report. It feels like a dispatch straight from, I guess, the front lines of AI development. It details how these cutting-edge idea-generating agents are actually being put to the test in pretty rigorous ways.
Yeah, it's like getting the inside scoop on what's next. So our mission today really is to unpack this source material for you. We want to get into what these AI idea generators are actually proving capable of right now, how they were evaluated in this specific benchmark test, and maybe most importantly, what the results actually mean for you, whether you're using AI for brainstorming, for ideation in your own work, whatever creative process you're involved in.
Let's unpack this.
Right.
It's beyond just hype now. There are concrete benchmarks attempting to measure creativity and innovation in AI, which is, a big step.
Right. And the core of this report, the main event, is this test. They called it the AI Idea Bench 2025. It sounds a bit formal, maybe, but the premise is pretty cool, I think. They essentially put four leading AI idea generator agents through their paces like a competition.
And crucially, they didn't just give them a broad topic and say, write something. They designed the test framework to really mimic how venture capitalists, vet startups. They looked at these AI-generated ideas based on three key criteria that matter in the real world, whether it's a business or research idea. Did the idea target the right problem? Was it genuinely new? That's the novelty aspect.
Yeah.
And did it actually look like something you could realistically build or implement? That's the feasibility side.
Oh, applying that startup lens to research ideas, that makes so much sense. You kind of need all three for an idea to really go anywhere, right? But here's where it gets really interesting, maybe even a little mind-bending. The ground truth they used for comparison, they didn't just have human experts guess if it was good.
Yeah.
They compare the AI ideas against a massive data set. 3,495 brand new AI papers that were actually accepted and presented at top conferences recently.
This part is absolutely key to the study's validity, I think. They were incredibly meticulous about the timing. Zero of this data, zero of these 3,495 research papers existed before the knowledge cutoff date for the models they were testing, specifically GPT-4o's cutoff date of October 3, 2023.
Whoa, like zero. None of it existed anywhere for the AI to have potentially seen it during training.
Exactly. Zero. This completely eliminates the possibility that the AI was just, echoing its training data or variations of knowledge that already exist in the public domain before that date. This was a true test of whether it could propose something that was genuinely post-cutoff, something new to the world after its knowledge was frozen.
Okay, that really isolates its ability to generate something novel, something new, which is like the whole point of ideation, right? So
Yeah.
how did they actually score the ideas against this unseen data?
They used a pretty smart two-step scoring process. First, they looked at how well the AI's idea aligned with a real paper that actually got published in that post-cutoff data set. Did it identify the same problem? Did it propose similar approaches or experiment designs? That measured the idea's relevance and depth.
Okay, so how close was it to a real new paper?
Right. And second, they calculated a combined score for novelty and feasibility. And this part used citation data.
Citation data. For novelty and feasibility, that feels a bit counterintuitive, doesn't it? Like,
Yeah.
how does whether something is cited relate to whether it's new or doable?
Well, it's used as a proxy, right?
Yeah.
So for novelty, if an AI proposes an idea or a method, and there are fewer existing papers citing similar work, that could indicate a more novel idea. It's less connected to the existing body of knowledge, you see.
Okay, fewer citations of similar things means it's maybe more novel. Got it. Makes sense.
And for feasibility, looking at citation data related to the specific methods proposed in the AI idea can be a pretty powerful proxy. If the methods an AI suggests are already being adopted and cited frequently in recent research, it suggests they are more practical, more established, more buildable right now. The source notes that this citation-weighted feasibility score is actually a handy proxy for commercial traction, too. It tracks methods that are already demonstrating usefulness and adoption in the field, kind of like market validation for the techniques themselves.
Oh, I see. It's not just about whether the idea exists, but whether the building blocks the AI is suggesting are already proving useful in practice. Like it's taking a pulse check on the technical approaches to see which ones are gaining traction and seem, well, practical.
Precisely. It gives you a sense of how grounded in current workable techniques the idea is,
Mm.
which is, super useful.
Fascinating. So who are these agents and how do they actually perform in this benchmark? What did the results show?
Yeah, so the report specifically highlighted two, AI scientist and AI researcher, mainly because they showed different strengths, which is interesting in itself. AI scientist, this one was, frankly, amazing at alignment. It hit a perfect 5.0 score on both the motivation for the research and the experiment design parts.
A perfect 5.0. Wow. So it didn't just get the gist, it got the why and the detailed how perfectly.
It really nailed the concept and the proposed execution.
Yeah.
So perfectly matching the core problem and the detailed plan of what a human researcher came up with and actually got published, after the cutoff.
That's pretty wild.
And maybe unsurprisingly, given that depth of alignment with what was truly novel and published, it also topped the charts for novelty overall. So AI scientist seems to be the agent you'd go to for generating bold, deeply aligned, and potentially really novel ideas.
Okay, bold and novel, maybe the big swings, the breakthrough stuff. What about the other one you mentioned, AI researcher? Did it have a different profile?
It did. AI researcher scored best on feasibility per step. It's hard to give the exact number without the study's full context, but the source mentions a specific number, 17 times 10 to the minus 3, I think. But the point was that its ideas looked more practical, more buildable right now compared to the others in the test.
Ah, so maybe less blue sky, more grounded. One for big new concepts and one for ideas that seem more ready to actually implement or, build upon today.
That seems to be the clear distinction emerging from the scoring, yeah. The citation-weighted feasibility score indicated that AI researcher was surfacing plans or methods that align more with techniques already gaining significant adoption or maybe even commercial traction in the field.
Okay, this study is super interesting from a technical standpoint, but let's translate this. What does this actually mean for, me, the person trying to use AI for brainstorming or come up with new projects? What are the practical takeaways from this whole thing?
All right, this is where we really get to the so what's for you. The first big takeaway is about quality having layers. Just because an AI idea sounds relevant or even aligns perfectly with a problem like AI scientists did, doesn't automatically mean the details are there to actually implement it easily. There's a clear difference between nailing a core concept and providing a truly practical, buildable plan.
Yeah, like the AI scientist got the what and the why down cold. Maybe perfectly, but maybe AI researcher was better at the how, the actual practical steps.
Exactly. Think of it like maybe an architect providing a beautiful visionary drawing versus the detailed blueprints and engineering plans needed to actually construct the building. Both are necessary, right?
Yep.
But they represent different layers of quality or usefulness depending on what you need right now.
I like that analogy. Vision versus blueprint. Okay, that makes sense. What else should we take away?
Well, that citation-aware scoring approach they used.
Hmm.
That concept itself is a valuable lens you can apply, even outside of this specific study. When an AI gives you an idea, thinking about how much related work or how many already adopted methodologies exist for it, checking the citation pulse of the underlying techniques is like getting a market or technical feasibility signal. It's a quick check.
So if an AI suggests a method for, analyzing customer data, I could kind of ask myself, based on what I know, are people actually using this method successfully? Is it proven? Is it gaining traction?
Right. It's a way to gauge how speculative or how grounded the idea is in current practice. And then there's the critical point about testing against truly unseen data. If you're relying on AI for genuinely fresh brainstorming, for coming up with ideas that are new to you and hopefully new to the world, you really need to be wary of that training set echo.
Training set echo, yeah. I like that term. It feels like the AI is just humming a tune it heard before, maybe slightly remixed, not composing something really new.
Precisely. If the models you're using for brainstorming haven't been rigorously tested against information they absolutely could not have seen during training, like in this benchmark, you can't be sure if they're generating genuinely novel ideas or just variations of things that already exist. That kind of testing is vital if novelty is really your goal.
That makes total sense. You want to know if it's actually inventing something or just giving you a slightly different version of something you already know is out there, maybe even something I already know is out there.
And this really leads directly to the idea of matching the tool to the task. Don't fall into the trap of looking for one single best AI agent for all your ideation needs. Based on this study, AI scientist seems like the one you'd use for inspiring those bold, maybe slightly more theoretical, highly novel ideas that could really push boundaries.
The big breakthrough concept ideas. The real moonshots, maybe.
Yeah, the big swings. While AI researcher, with its higher feasibility score, seems better suited for surfacing plans or ideas you could actually ship or build upon right now, using methods that are already proving their worth.
Right.
You need to pick the agent, or maybe even use different agents in different stages. That fits your specific goal for that brainstorming session. What are you trying to do today?
So it's less about finding the perfect AI unicorn and more about understanding the strengths of different tools and using the right one for the right job you need done today, like having different tools in your toolbox.
Exactly. And, this applies whether you're in academic research or, as the source mentions, on a marketing team needing campaign ideas, a product team brainstorming new features, or even an investment team evaluating potential market gaps. When you turn to generative AI for ideation, explicitly apply this two-step filter derived from this study. First, is the idea truly on target for the problem you're trying to solve?
Okay, step one, relevance.
And second, can it actually be built or implemented with reasonable effort?
Step two, feasibility. The is it relevant and is it doable filter.
Right. Using that filter consistently, it helps you cut through the noise of maybe brilliant-sounding but impractical ideas faster, and helps you spot potentially winning, actionable ideas more efficiently. It gives you a framework.
That's super practical. It gives you like a concrete framework to evaluate what AI spits out instead of just feeling overwhelmed or, unsure if the idea is any good or just noise.
It does. It moves you from passively receiving AI output to actively and critically evaluating it, like a good investor or good editor, really.
Okay, so that study gives us a deep look at AI's ideation capability, which is, a huge step. But the source also touches on how AI is impacting other areas right now, showing the breadth of development. Let's just take a quick look around the landscape. It sketches out, maybe touch on a few highlights.
Yeah. It's good to see these specific examples to ground the broader trends we discuss. Gives it context.
Totally. Like Amazon's apparently building this big AI brain for its warehouse robots called Proteus, I think. It sounds like it'll let the robots follow plain English orders from humans, which is kind of wild to think about. Plus, new models like Wellspring for optimizing delivery routes and an upgraded Sculpt model for stocking shelves smarter.
Yeah, that's AI moving directly into complex physical operations and logistics, aiming for massive efficiency gains. It's not just software anymore, it's interacting with the physical world much more.
And AlphaFold 3. Isomorphic Labs, which is part of DeepMind, says it can now predict the structure of protein interactions with other molecules, not just single proteins. This could potentially unlock way faster drug design, even for diseases that were previously considered undruggable. That's pretty huge for medicine and biotech.
Oh, absolutely. Predicting molecular interactions beyond just protein folding has been a major barrier for a long time. AlphaFold's progress here is genuinely a significant potential accelerator for pharmaceutical discovery if it holds up. Big if, but huge potential.
And OpenAI is still growing like crazy, apparently hitting 3 million paying business users now. That's a lot. And they're adding features aimed at making ChatGPT more useful in daily work, like connectors, which sounds like it integrates with things like Google Drive, maybe, and this record mode in the app for summarizing meetings you record.
Those features really signal a move towards embedding AI deeper into core business workflows and knowledge management. They want it to be an indispensable tool for daily productivity, not just something you chat with occasionally.
There's even a policy angle mentioned. Anthropic CEO Dario Amodei apparently called for a national AI transparency law. Not freeze on development, importantly, but saying we need transparency about these models.
That raises an important ongoing discussion about how societies and governments will oversee and regulate powerful AI models as they become more integrated into our infrastructure and decision-making. Transparency is often seen as a key part of responsible development, building trust.
And a cool safety application. Volvo's upcoming EX60 electric vehicle will have this AI-driven multi-adaptive seatbelt system. It uses sensors and AI to adjust based on something like 11 different crash profiles in real time to try and protect passengers better.
Using AI for real-time predictive safety adjustments in a physical product like a car seatbelt, that's a pretty concrete and potentially impactful application. Very tangible benefit.
And on the business side, this new company, Shield Technology Partners, just got $100 million in funding to launch an AI-enabled managed IT services platform. Their strategy is to use shared AI agents to automate a lot of the routine IT support tasks that, bog down human teams.
Leveraging AI for service delivery and automation, especially in areas like IT support, where tasks are often repetitive but require specific knowledge, makes a lot of sense for scaling expertise and improving efficiency. We'll probably see a lot more of that.
And just two quick cool tools that got to mention. 11 Labs dropped version 3 of their platform for even more expressive text-to-speech. That includes emotion tags, which is pretty wild for TTS realism, and Chat4 Data, which apparently lets you scrape web pages just using plain language prompts, which sounds way easier than coding it yourself.
Yeah, tools like those continue to lower the barrier to entry for using AI for specific, complex tasks, making things like creating expressive audio or extracting web data accessible to a much wider audience, democratizing the tank in a way.
So, wow, okay, putting it all together, a lot happening.
Okay, so let's maybe try and unpack the bigger picture from this deep dive. The main takeaway is pretty stark, right? AI has genuinely moved way beyond just answering your search queries or writing simple emails. It's now actively stepping into the creative space, generating ideas, even complex ones like potential research proposals that, based on this study, can stack up against novel human-written papers.
Yeah, it's not just summarizing the past, it's helping sketch out the future in a way. And, just like investors vet startups or like this AI idea bench study scored these agents, we really need robust ways, maybe that two-step filter we talked about, to evaluate the quality of these AI-generated ideas ourselves. Looking at things like genuine novelty and practical feasibility is absolutely crucial to cut through the noise.
Absolutely. An idea needs to not just sound good or be statistically novel. It needs to have legs. It needs to be potentially achievable. And that means applying those filters is on target for the problem. And can it actually be built or implemented with reasonable resources?
So here's something, I guess, to leave you thinking about, something to chew on after hearing all this. Given that AI can now generate ideas that actually align with and stack up against human-written research papers published in top venues, how should we even begin to rethink the whole process of creative ideation itself? Does it fundamentally change things?
This raises an important question for all of us, doesn't it? In a world where AI is becoming, a constant potential co-creator, how do we distinguish between ideas that are merely novel, maybe novel just based on recombining its training data in a clever way, versus those that are truly impactful, truly achievable, and meaningful in the real world? Where's the real insight versus just clever pattern mashing?
Right. Like, what kind of human oversight, what kind of human evaluation and curation becomes the most crucial part of the process when AI is doing so much of the initial generation and heavy lifting on concepts? What's our role now?
It fundamentally shifts our role, perhaps, from being the sole generators of ideas to becoming expert curators, evaluators, maybe strategic prompters, and refiners of AI-generated concepts. Our value might move up the chain, so to speak.
Definitely something to think about the next time you sit down to brainstorm, whether it's with AI helping out or just you and a whiteboard.